Kia ora and welcome to Wellywood Wargaming. I'm still holding the good old flame template in my hand for some reason. This just feels quite nice. It's like a little comfort thing. But my name's Damon anyway, and I'm going through today. In fact, I'm going to try and get it all done today. Why not? Because I'm a monster when it comes to putting out these things. I hope you appreciate it though. But this episode we're going to discuss special weapons. So we've done basic weapons, we've done pistols. I'm now going to go through the special weapons that are available to every gang in the trading post. We're not talking about Xenos weapons, corrupted weapons, Imperial weapons, or house-specific weapons. We are only talking about the weapons at the trading post that everyone can pretty much get access to. So, special weapons. Unlike pistols, unlike basic weapons, special weapons are only available to most leaders, most champions, and specialists, of course, which you have one of in a starting list most of the time. There are some situations like Orlocks get more special weapons, things like that, but special weapons are special. It's in the name, really, isn't it? So there you go. Now we're going to go straight into it. Actually, the first thing on the list is combi weapons again. So like pistols, you have more options here though. Now, combi weapons are, again, just touching on the combi weapon thing, they have a different sort of ammo situation. So if you ammo check on a combi weapon type, you have to roll twice on the ammo check, and you discard the best one basically. So you're always more likely to run out of ammo. However, you have your second variant type available to use. So there's that too. So your primary component on a combi special weapon can either be an autogun or a bolter. So you've only got those two to start with. These are all very expensive, by the way, I'll just point out. I'm not going to go into the actual credits cost on these, but the combi special weapons are all very expensive. So you've either got an autogun or a bolt gun. We know what those both do. We've been into that on basic weapons. The bolt gun is very, very powerful, very, very powerful indeed, but particularly unreliable when you think about its ammo check of a 6-up and combi. So you've got a very unreliable weapon there that hits very hard every now and then. The auto gun, of course, is just solid standard auto gun. Rapid fire is great. It's cheap, but when you put it in a combi weapon, it's not so cheap. So you might want to think about the bolt gun being the primary component most of the time, I think, in this. Going into the secondary components, though, you've got a lot more options. So the first one is a flamer. Now the flamer, we're going to get into the details of the flamer on its own, but the flamer template, the flamer profile on the combi weapon is exactly the same. It has blaze, combi template, and this time it has unstable though, which is interesting. So if you combine the flamer with a bolt gun, for example, you're just going to get either a bolt gun or a flamer instead, because it's just not as good. You've got an unstable flamer and you've got a much less reliable bolt gun. So figure that one out. It's pretty easy, that one. You've then got a grenade launcher though. Now grenade launchers, we'll go into more details on the grenade launcher when I do the grenade launcher itself, but grenade launchers are amazing in this game for the fact that they're a template that you can fling anywhere pretty much. So you can have frag and crack grenade launchers attached to an auto gun or attached to a bolt gun. Nice to have. Again, I think most of these combi variants you're going to prefer to have the reliability of the full version of that gun most of the time, and that goes with this grenade launcher too. You've then got melter, so you can combine a melter gun with either a bolt gun or auto gun as well. Again, pretty nice. We're going to go into melter guns in more detail too. You've got needle weapons and you've got plasma weapons too. So just to give you a brief overview, there are lots of options for combi weapons. I don't think any of them are really as good as the weapons on their own. They're also very expensive generally. You're looking at a similar price to a heavy weapon often. And honestly, I don't think it's worth it. There are combi pistols that I would take, like the stub plasma combi is really nice, and you can get some combi weapons for Van Saar, like Las Plaz and stuff, which is really nice and not as expensive. But that's just combi weapons briefly. We're now going to go fully into the special weapon profile. So here we go. The first one is a flamer template. So flamer template, I'm just thinking of templates, but yeah, the flamer, very similar to a hand flamer. The only main difference here is we have a strength 4 template. So incredibly powerful. The other difference is they're -1 AP too. So you've now got strength 4, so you're wounding most guys on 3s. You've got -1 AP, so that's, it's going to be annoying for most armor types, to be honest. They're damage 1, they're 5+ ammo, they have blaze. Yeah, so and you've got a template. So I mean, templates are incredible in this game. You can get people in cover, and most importantly, you can set people on fire. So flamers, I think they're 140 credits off the top of my head. Now, if you compare a hand flamer to a flamer, I think the hand flamer is going to win most of the time, just because it is substantially cheaper. It's like half the price. Yeah, it's got slightly lower strength. Yeah, it's got no AP, but it's just as powerful in terms of the blaze trait. So I think the hand flamer is going to win out most of the time. However, flamers are pretty nice. And again, if you combine them with something like hip shooting, where you can run and gun, you can move 10 inches and then squirt a flame template with no minuses. Very nasty. Very nasty indeed. So there you go, that's the flamer. The next one is the grav gun. Now, similar to a grav pistol, we've just got a slightly longer range here. So we've got 9-inch short range, +1 to hit at short range as well. 18-inch long range. Now, we had a game yesterday where we had 2 servitors with grav guns, and they were very, very scary actually. And I've not used grav guns that much, so now I know what they're capable of. I'm going to be much more wary of grav, and maybe I'll take some grav in the future. But yeah, we haven't got a strength on here because these have graviton pulse, so they do something slightly different here. We've got -1 AP, 2 damage, which is pretty nasty. We've got 5+ ammo. We've got a 3-inch blast template, which is great, similar to a frag grenade. We've got concussion, which gives you -2 initiative when you get hit by it, so you're much more likely to fall off a gantry or rafter, something like that. And we have graviton pulse, which auto pins regardless if you've got a skill or not, like nerves of steel. And graviton pulse, it wounds you on a strength check. So the lower your strength is, the more likely you are to be wounded by it. And it's 2 damage when you are too. Now, the other thing I didn't touch on with the pistols when I was talking about grav as well is moving through. Now, that 3-inch template stays there on the board for that turn. Now, moving through that template costs you double the movement, basically. So if you can effectively lock, if you're playing on, is it Zone Mortalis, you can lock down corridors and stuff really well with that. It's pretty cool. Obviously, you can still shoot through it, but it stops people moving at you. It stops people charging at you as effectively as well. So a real nice tactical weapon. I really like the grav gun. I did actually have it once on a Delac champion who had fast shots. So I was pinging out 2 grav shots per turn a lot of the time, usually running out of ammo, but it was really fun, and it was more of a tactical thing. But having said that, that 2 damage when it does hit home is just really, really nasty. So grav guns are great. They are very expensive, however. So bear that in mind, but all the special weapons are pretty expensive too, to be fair. So there you go. That's your grav gun. Now the next one is the good old grenade launcher. Now grenade launchers are really popular in Necromunda, particularly on specific gangs like Orlocks or Goliaths or Genestealer Cult. Anyone who gets access to them is quite often taking a grenade launcher. The reason being is that they're just really, really effective weapons in this game. Now you have 2 main profiles that you get with a grenade launcher. You have frag and crack, similar to 40k, I suppose, if you play 40k. The frag grenade has a 6-inch short range, and it's -1 to hit a short range because it's a grenade launcher. You're not going to shoot at short range ever. 24-inch long range though, so nice long range, same as an auto gun, bolt gun, las gun. You've got strength 3, this is frag. You've got strength 3, 1 damage, 6 up ammo, so terrible, terrible ammo, but it's a blast 3-inch template and it's got knockback. So similar to a shotgun, you have knockback. So what these are good for is you don't have to worry about your ballistic skill as much, because quite often you're hitting even when it scatters and you miss. And you have knockback. So what they're great for is not only targeting groups of fighters together and hitting multiple fighters at the same time, but also getting snipers who are deep in cover up the top of a building. You can clear them out, and you can just pick a spot next to them. You don't have to aim for your target. So as long as you can see that spot on the floor, you can shoot that frag template and you can get knockback as well. So if you're not knocking them off something, you can knock them into something and get extra damage, and that can be very, very potent when it comes off. I mean, most of the time you've got these two profiles, you've got frag and crack, but most of the time you're going to be using the frag grenades. Crack grenades are a very different animal entirely. So with the crack grenade, you've got the same accuracy over short range, -1 to hit, 24-inch long range, 6-inch short range. However, these are strength 6, which is quite a lot. So you're winning on 2s with most fighters. You're -2 ammo, so that will go straight through mesh armor, and you won't get a save with that either. They're 2 damage, so again, very nasty like a bolt gun. 6 up ammo, and they don't have any traits whatsoever. So this one does not have a template. So you need to be more accurate with these. But when they hit you, they hit really, really, really hard with that 2 damage and that -2 AP. So really great for shooting characters and stuff like that, but 9 times out of 10 you're going to rely on the frag profile because it is just so much more useful in the game. But I've seen people using crack all the time. Grenades, that is, not using crack as a drug all the time, but you get quite a lot of that here in Wellington too. That's another story. But yeah, not only that, you've got loads and loads of other different grenade types that you can use too. So I'm going to go through those quickly in a minute. But just a summary of the grenade launcher, it is a fantastically good weapon. I think there's 65 credits normally with frag and crack, and that is relatively cheap compared to the other special weapons. And arguably, you know, that pretty much makes the grenade launcher the most potent special weapon in the game, I would say, in terms of how you use it tactically. Just an excellent weapon. Again though, don't spam it, don't spam anything, don't spam grenade launchers. They're really good. You only ever need 1 or 2 of them. There you go. That is the grenade launcher. Now I'm just going to go quickly into the other grenade variant types. Now we've got choke grenades, which are gas basically. You've got choke grenades, you've got gas grenades, which are nasty because gas, obviously, you know, you've got to beat the target's toughness and then it's just straight injury. You don't get to save with gas at all, so it negates armor. You can use respirators and things to offset that, but most people don't tend to buy respirators unless there is lots of gas in the campaign. You have photon flash grenades. Now, photon flash grenades are amazing weapons. They are a 5-inch template. Now, what they'll do is instead of damaging you, you have to succeed an initiative check, and if you fail that initiative check, if you have a ready marker, you lose that ready marker, and if you've used your ready marker, you lose your ready marker the next turn. So amazingly powerful, especially as they're very cheap too. But not going to hurt anyone, but certainly going to ruin your plans if you've got a gang with low initiative particularly. Not as effective as against Escher, etc., but much more effective against Goliaths, Ogrins, things like that. So you can put those in grenade launchers too. You then have scare gas grenades, which cause fear. They're a 3-inch blast, they're limited, they cause fear. Again, these are all the same range and accuracy generally. Now that's pretty cool as well because it can, you know, make people run away. So really fun, scare gas grenades. But they're not really going to hurt anyone too much. You've also got smoke grenades, which are excellent tools in Necromunda. Smoke grenades have a 5-inch template, so big, about that big. You can't shoot through them essentially, so unless you have an infrasight photo goggles, then you can't see through them at all. Now you can still run through them, you can still charge through them, move through them, etc. But you can lock off firing lanes with smoke grenades. They are excellent tools in the game. Again, we'll get into these grenade types more when I actually do the grenade section, but grenade launchers on the whole with these different grenade types are just so awesome. You're quite often going to get, if you're going to get an upgrade for a grenade launcher, you're probably going to get smoke because you can ping smoke much further than you can throw it. You can get smoke grenades, you know, hand thrown smoke grenades, but they're much more effective in a grenade launcher because you can get them further away from you. So if you've got a close combat gang or whatever, you can move your close combat fighters in without worry of getting pinned and whatnot and shot on the way there. So very effective and quite cheap too. You've also got stun rounds as well, stun grenades, which are probably the weakest grenade type I would say, but they have their uses. Stun has, they're strength 2, they're -1 AP. They're only 1 damage, but they have concussion, so they're really good at knocking people off stuff and reducing people's initiative by 2. So again, similar to that concussion with the grav guns, that's what you've got with the grenade type. Not really going to damage you that easily though, but when they do, great. You know, you're wounding most people on a 5 though, so bear that in mind. Now we get into the even more fun stuff for me. So the next one, we've got a long las. Now a long las is similar to a las gun, but it's a sniping las gun basically. So 18-inch short range, so the same short range as a las gun. However, they have a 36-inch long range, which can stretch across most tables. We play on a 4x4 table, and long lasers and long rifles do really, really well on that terrain. Again, it depends how you set up the terrain, but long lasers, they're only 20 credits, which is very cheap. But they're a special weapon, so only certain fighters are going to get them. They have a few positives, they have a few negatives. The main thing is that they're +1 to hit at long range, so anything over 18 inches you're hitting at +1 to hit. And if you combine that with an infrascope, then you're laughing basically. You've also got strength 4. There's no AP on these though. They have damage 1. They're 2 up, sorry, because they're las. They're 2 up on the ammo, and they're plentiful, so you can reload them very well. So they're basically like a las gun, but stronger and more accurate over long range, and not as accurate over short range. So if you mix those up with las guns, then you've got a real nice, lots of threats from different ranges. The thing I love the most about long lasers though is that they're 20 credits, which is quite frankly just ridiculous. You can also give them focusing crystals too, which will give you -2 AP, where they don't normally have AP. And I think that's the downside of the long las, is there's no AP on it. But at 20 credits, I mean, it's an amazingly good weapon at 20 credits. So there you go. Sniper las. The next one, and arguably better than the long las in some ways, is the long rifle. Now, a long rifle shoots solid rounds instead of las rounds. It has a 24-inch short range. It has a 48-inch long range, so it's even longer range than the long las. It has +1 to hit at that long range. It's still strength 4, so similar to a long las, but this time it is -1 AP, which makes a big difference with flak armor, hazard suits, having no armor. Mesh armor all of a sudden goes to a 6 up. Bear that in mind. It also has 4 up ammo, 1 damage, but the main thing about long rifles, and the tastiest thing about long rifles, is they have knockback. So you can knock people off gantries, walkways, whatever, into walls, cause extra damage. Lovely jubbly. Now, they're 10 credits more than a long las, I believe, 30 credits for a long rifle, but I mean, what's not to like about the long rifle? 30 credits for an absolutely excellent weapon. There you go. So you have long lasers and long rifles, similar but not the same. Yeah, both great sniping tools there. There is another sniper rifle in the game, and that's the Enforcer sniper rifle. We're not going to get into that, but off the top of my head, that one has rending, and very similar to a long rifle, basically. Just has rending. Okay, so the very scariest of the bunch is the melter gun. You know, melter gun, basically whatever it hits melts. It's in the name, really, isn't it? So you're going to look like that guy off the first RoboCop film when you get covered in toxic goo. Or probably not going to look like anything, actually, just a pile of ash. But these are quite short range. They have a 6-inch short range, +1 to hit. They have a 12-inch long range, so their long range is that of a pistol. They have strength 8, so you're wounding most things on a 2. You're even wounding Goliaths on a 2, in fact. They are -4 AP, which is, I mean, if you've got heavy carapace armor, you haven't got heavy carapace armor anymore. Bear that in mind. So you're getting through everybody's armor. It's not even funny. The only thing that does do well against it, of course, is field armor. Displacer fields, things like that, can save you. But if you're getting hit by a melter gun shot, then you're not generally surviving. So they're -4 AP. To top that off, they're 3 damage. So they're very similar to a las cannon blast, except they're actually +1 AP over a las cannon. So -3 to -4. Oh my lord, they're incredibly powerful. They just don't have much range. Now melter, I think, off the top of my head, I should have really done research here, but melter in short range I think just takes you out of action if you get wounded by it. You don't even have to roll damage dice. I think that's correct. Please comment if not. Just takes you out of action if you wound them. Because they're not saving it anyway, and if they do save it, then yeah, nasty though. Really, really nasty weapon. Again, very expensive though. I think off the top of my head, they're 160 credits, something like that. But I mean, it's just complete overkill, melter gun, but really fun, and just so dangerous. Yeah, so there you go. The next one is the needle rifle. So similar to a needle pistol, we have a toxin weapon. The needle rifle, however, has a 9-inch short range with a +2 to hit, which is really nice, and an 18-inch long range. So not too much range on this one. However, -2 AP. We have scarce, silent, and toxin. So again, toxin, you need to beat the toughness of the target, or same as, or greater than. You beat the toughness of the target. Great at taking out multi-wound targets. Not so great at you know, well, just not that effective against targets that have only 1 wound. You're better off using other weapons most of the time. So really, really, really good at targeting characters basically in the game. But I would say for the price, I can't remember how much needle rifles are off the top of my head, but they're not that great compared to some of the other special weapons. Personally, I think needle rifles should be made into basic weapons. You might disagree with that, but they don't feel like a special weapon. They feel like a basic weapon. I don't think everyone should get access to them, but why aren't they basic weapons, basically? Basically basic. So there you go, that's the needle rifle. Now we have a really powerful weapon here, the plasma gun, of course. We went into plasma pistols in the last video. Plasma guns, though, now we've got a lot more range here. So we've got a short range of 12, long range of 24 on both maximal and low profiles. We've got +2 to hit on the low. We've got +1 to hit on short range on the maximum profile. And they go from strength 5 and 7 respectively. We've got -1 and -2 respectively as well on low to maximal power. We've got 2 to 3 damage respectively again, and a 5-up ammo on both of those with scarce. Now the main difference between these two as well is that the low profile gets rapid fire this time. So unlike the pistol, we get rapid fire. So damage 2 weapon that has what was it? Yeah, -1 AP, similar to a bolt gun basically, but the key difference between the low profile on a plasma gun and if you compare it to a bolt gun is that instead of what was I going to say? You've still got rapid fire like a bolt gun, but they're strength 5 instead of strength 3, so much more effective against toughness 4 targets like Goliaths and whatnot. Your maximal profile again is just complete overkill, but it's going to toast anything that you hit. Not quite as scary as a melter gun, but still very scary with that strength 7 -2 AP and 3 damage. So very nasty. Now plasma guns are 100 credits, I believe, and to be honest, I think that is too cheap. They are incredibly powerful weapons in this game in the right hands, especially on Banter champions and stuff who've got fast shot and marksman and all those horrible shooting skills. Very good weapon. So yeah, I'm going to give that one an A. I should have graded all of these at some point, but maybe I'll do it at some point, I'm not sure. Anyway, second from last, we have the Storm Welder. Now the Storm Welder is hilarious, a hilarious weapon. You get this one on some Goliath cats, you also get it on some Ogrins maybe, the Storm Welder. But this has an 8-inch short, I mean get ready for this one, this is special. We've got an 8-inch short range, we've got a 16-inch long range, +1 to hit short range, strength 5, 1 damage, 3+ ammo, rapid fire 3, so this rolls 3 rapid fire dice, so you can potentially get 9 shots off here. 9 shots, yep, you heard that, at strength 5. No IP though, but still. Very scary. We've then got shock as well, so they auto wound if they roll 6s, I think, which is silly too. And ignore armor maybe? I don't know. I can't remember what that does, but we've also got reckless and unstable. So unstable means it blows up if you ammo check and roll a 1 basically. like a plasma gun on maximal. But you've also got reckless. Now reckless means that it will target friendly fighters as well as enemy fighters. So you really need to not have anyone around other than enemies to shoot this weapon, otherwise you're taking out your own guys with potentially 9 shots and stuff. So this is a really silly weapon. I've never really used it, but I've seen Ogrins using it a couple of times, and it's just hilarious. It's actually pretty good for Ogrins because they have the toughness to be able to survive some of this, but it will rip through lots of people. It's just hilarious, this weapon. So yeah, not too cheap, and just a real fun, fluffy weapon there. But that's the Storm Welder. Now last, but by no means least, we have, of course, the disgusting web gun. We talked about the web pistol in the last one, and the web trait is just awful to play against. Just a brief overview of web again. It's a template, so it's this one. If you wound your target, they are seriously injured. So there is no save to be made against web. So it doesn't matter what armor you've got, it doesn't matter how much cover you've got. If you get hit by that template, you are seriously injured and likely to get coup de grace or bleed out or something in the game. So the only flip side to that is that you go out cold if you succumb to a webbing. So it's not quite as bad in a campaign. You don't get those lasting injuries. However, you do get bonuses to capture people as well, but that's another story. But yeah, the web gun, the difference between the web gun and the web pistol is the web gun is, instead of strength 4, it's now strength 5. That's the only difference. The other thing is obviously the price. You go from 90 credits to quite a lot more. Can't remember exactly how much more, but you're only strength 5. So again, you take the web gun if you're playing against a lot of toughness 4, like Goliaths or Ogrins or something. But generally speaking, you're going to take the web pistol over the web gun, I think, because it's more accessible, because it's not a special weapon, and it's just as scary. And it's still wounding most fighters on a 3. So there you have it. That was special weapons. I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm going to do heavy weapons, I believe, next, and we'll get into close combat and all the other types as well. And then eventually we'll get into war gear and all the equipment too, but this is going to take me a lot of time to get through all this stuff. So if I miss anything, then please comment. I'm sure I will miss something. I'm sure I'll say something wrong or I'll get a rule wrong, but yeah, this is just to give you a real brief overview of all the weapons, war gear, and equipment in the game of Necromunda that we love so much. So again, your support is really appreciated, and I hope you enjoyed. Peace out.